Hey guys, Jeezy here, and today I am here with my first story time. This will be my first story time video out of a series of videos. So, with that being said, please make sure to hit the like button, hit the notification button, and smash that subscribe button so that way you can be notified whenever I post new stories. And with that being said, let's get on to the story. So this story kind of takes place at my old house before I moved about a year ago. And to basically get a setting of where it kind of happened throughout the day. It was at my house mostly, and kind of when I was hanging out with my friends. So it all started with me leaving school. I left school and I went over to my friend Eric's house, and from there we went over to my friend Mateo's house. And you know, we did normal friend stuff. We hung out at Mateo's house, we played some video games and shit like that. Then we went to go fishing at a boat ramp spot near his house. It was pretty fun, and we caught some bass and stuff. It was all fun and games. Then my mom calls me home, so I said bye to the boys, and then I started heading home. And keep in mind, my house is like a mile away from the boat ramp, which is where we were at the time. And my bike was like a piece of crap back then, so it took a lot of energy to like push it forward to get going fast. So when I got home, I was obviously exhausted. So when I got home, all I wanted to do was just like go to sleep and like rest for a bit. So I got inside, I laid down in my room, turned on my fan, and I tried falling asleep so I could like just get my energy back. And after about 5 minutes, my dad walks in. He's like, "What you tired for?" I'm like, "You been smoking that crap?" And I'm like, "What? No, I'm just tired. I just rode a mile back to the house." So after that, he pulls something out of his pocket and he asks me, "What's this?" I look up and it's a cart for a dab pen. And I knew what it was, obviously, but I didn't want to tell him I knew what it was, because then he would think that I do drugs since I know what it is. So I said, "No, I don't know what that is." And he keeps asking me, "Well, your sister found it in the cat food box when she went to go feed the cat." I'm like, "Okay, and?" So then after that, we start arguing for about 20 minutes. And he drags me out of my room, not literally, like we go to my mom's room, and he tells my mom the exact same thing he told me, like he tells me the story and everything. And then the three of us start arguing, and then we start arguing for like half an hour, and then my dad yells at my mom, he's like, "Go get the drug test." So he got the drug test, and we started arguing even more, and I told my mom that I don't have to use the drug test, but I only said that because I didn't need to go to the bathroom at that point in time. So she misinterpreted that as me being disrespectful, saying I did have to pee, but I didn't have to take the drug test. It was my choice, not hers. That's what it came off towards her. So then she got extremely mad. And when my mom's mad, after a while, you think of us arguing, she starts looking around for something to like throw or like hit you with or something like that. And we were in the dining room, and I was on one side of the table, and she was on the other side. And in the middle of our dining room table, we have this red bowl, or had this red bowl, and it was full of fruit. So like we could like go in there, grab fruit, and eat it, yada yada yada. So when she got there and she saw the bowl, she immediately picked it up and then threw it at me. But it's a big ass bowl, so I easily dodged it. But it hit the ground and then glass went everywhere. So if I stepped anywhere, I would have been fucked because I was wearing socks, but that's besides the point. So after that, we kept arguing about it, and then my dad finally made me take the test. I was going to take the test. I was like, "Alright, fine, I'll take it." So I go to the bathroom, and then my dad follows me, tries to keep the door open, and I'm in 6th grade, so I'm like 12 years old. And I'm pretty much at that age where when I'm taking a whiz, I don't want someone watching me. So then me and him start arguing again for like 10 minutes, and then he finally leaves. I shut the door, I take the test, and then I give it to my parents, and I go back in my room and I play on my phone for a bit. Like 20 minutes pass, and then my mom comes in and asks me if I've taken anything that day, because I had a cold. And I said, "Yeah, I took 2 Advil earlier." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And then she went back to her room to talk to my dad. Then after like 5 more minutes, they called me back, and we started talking about it, and then they said that they found methamphetamine and marijuana in my system, that's what came up in the test. And the way this test works is it sees if there's any kind of substances in your system from the last 30 days. And they told me that the weed showed up as a faint red line, meaning I had taken it earlier during the month, which means it was coming out of my system. And the methamphetamine was bright red, so I either taken it just that day, the day before, or the day before that. And when I heard the weed, I wasn't surprised because, alright, so the reason why the weed came up in my system was because my dad smokes. And he smokes in the garage, and sometimes I go out there to throw out the trash, and he'll be smoking in there, and I'll inhale the fumes, so it's secondhand, so it's in my system. So that's why I knew that was in there. But the meth, I was completely baffled as to why that shit was in there. And I started thinking, like, how could there be meth in my system? And I knew my dad set me up, so I thought maybe he put it in my food or something like that. But I don't remember feeling weird at all during the last 3 days. So I was like, how could that happen? And then I remembered that people make meth with painkillers, and I had taken Advil for my headache since I had a cold. So I put 2 and 2 together, and I realized that came up in my system because it was the Advil that I had taken earlier. So I tried telling them that, and that meth makes people go insane. But my dad wasn't buying it. My mom knew I wasn't lying, but my dad wasn't buying it. So after that, we started arguing about it for like another hour, and it was overall just like a really bad scene. Like, I was very uncomfortable. Like, I was crying under the stress because my dad wasn't believing me, and I think my mom wasn't too, but she kind of looked like she was buying my story, which I was completely telling the truth because I have never seen, touched, or done meth in my entire life. Like, during that time, since I was in 6th grade, they were all cramming this shit into our brains, telling us not to do drugs or alcohol because it would make us fucking retarded. But I'm pretty sure you can tell by the sound of my voice that I didn't really uphold those pledges, but that's besides the point. So yeah, so it wasn't a very good day. I mean, I didn't get grounded because my dad couldn't really find a reason to, besides just yelling at me for an hour and a half. So but yeah, it took them a whole 2 hours just to get me to take the test to see if I was lying or not, and it looked like I was lying, so it wasn't a really good image on me. But they didn't tell anybody that I came up positive, but I have told a few people about this story, and now I'm telling you guys, and that's just about the end of the story. So if you guys want to hear more stories like this, please remember to hit the notification button and the subscribe button, and if you like this story, leave a like then. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.